Hi everyone, welcome to my live reaction of this video called I Wish I Was a Girl, sorta. The original video will be in the description. And I am just getting into content stuff, and so I thought an easy way to practice would be basically putting my no life watching lots of different kinds of content into practice. So I wanted to watch this video and see what this guy has to say about his experience or whatever, and then I just make some comments on it since I kinda have experience with this stuff, I guess. Or maybe not. Maybe I don't even know what he's gonna talk about because it's a blind reaction, so I haven't seen it yet. Yeah. So let's give it a go.
Begin, please note the title. There's a key word in there, all right? If you look really closely, you squint your eyes just a tiny little bit, you'll see the word sorta, okay? Listen, I'm not transgender. I'm not an egg. You just got to hear me out on this, all right? It'll make sense in a minute. The reason why I wrote sorta in the title at all was because I don't really want to be a girl per se. I suppose a more accurate term would be female androgynous biomass, which does play a role later in the story. I'll get into that.
Yeah, so that's a pretty interesting topic because of what the woke leftists have been up to. They basically kidnapped the LGBT tag, and they were all, it's weird because they used, like, leftist used to be like, hey, let people be individuals, don't force, gender roles on them, and if they're happy doing what they're doing and it's not hurting anyone super bad, like without their consent and stuff, then what's the problem? But now they kind of became like assholes and they did some weird juju stuff where they basically took the phrase, like not the phrase but the term. I forgot what the word is called for like a segment of a word. You know how like means it is like a piece of a word that means like redo or undo type of stuff, and D usually is in words for like deconstruction and taking stuff apart. And so um they took the word like trans, the like that segment word, and basically applied it to everything similar, and so it kind of like merged like all of these, because like science had like all these different terms, so like transgender, transsexual, transvestite, femboys. Yeah, they yeah, they really looped femboys into like forcing, like basically projecting onto them and forcing them to be like sending them messages to be like, oh, you gotta be a woman, and it's like, no, they just want to be a feminine guy, and that's kind of what the original message was. And so that's why the LGBT space is really weird, because it doesn't really have the like because like to me, the point of labels is to make things simpler. So it's but it's not like a do be all type of thing in this context. Like yeah. And so I'm curious to see what more he's gonna explain ab- about this thing. So if it's just like uh if just to see what his feelings are about it, to see what term would be actually be more accurate than, you know, forcing him to be be a trans girl when that's not the point of what he's trying to explore, you know.
Okay, but for now you just got to hear me out. First off, yeah, I do got to preface I am a guy, a cisgender man. That's me, I'm your guy. And I don't know, I feel like most guys, I've kind of, had my moments where I felt uncomfortable being a guy. Mainly that boils down to the fact that I really don't like looking like a guy, especially in the past whenever I've gone through depressions, self loathing, and I feel like I look even uglier than I actually am. It just makes me hate.
So far it sounds like he's got like some kind of body dysmorphia rather than body dysphoria. And if you don't know the difference, dysmorphia just means uh you you just don't like the way your body looks. So like girls have dysmorphia a lot during like being a teenager, and that's why the percent of cosmetic surgery has gone up like so much, because these uh teenage girls, they see all these like pretty girls on the internet, I guess, and then uh and then so when they get to be like 20 years old, even though they're literally still growing into their bodies, they're like, oh, maybe I'll finally like myself if I get a boob job. And if you guys know that YouTuber or content creator, because I think she started with like Instagram Reels or something, where she is a petite, flat chested Asian girl, and that was like her brand of trying to, of like showing that it's okay to accept yourself and you're still a woman, even if you don't have fat lumps on your chest, because of the boobs. And then a few months ago, she got um she got boob implants, and now she's like a C cup or something. And that's like, whoa, from being like a wall to like C cups. That was crazy. But the crazy part is that her brand was about accepting herself and being like, yes, I am in fact a woman. But then she like she changed her tune after getting her boob job, that she was like, oh, I'm not doing it for other people, I'm doing it for myself, for fun. I got a cosmetic surgery for fun. uh okay, yeah, that's really cool to do to your impressionable girl audience, because a lot of her viewers were dysmorphic teenage girls. And so now watching that one of their few inspirations change her body so drastically and like go against what she was saying before, it shocked quite a lot of girls, and a lot of basically every single person was upset, because it'd be one thing if she really did believe that she was doing it for herself. Uh, but she built her brand on being natural and accepting your beauty, to be like, yeah, you are still a human, you're still a woman, you still have other attributes rather than your boobs, you know? And so it was a really sad situation. And then she like started to like sexualize herself a lot more, and that's like a whole thing of people like sexualizing big boobs, and it's just like, boobs are there for feeding ya babies. All right, listen, if you are a lady and you got giant boobies, uh you are still a human. And if you're an A cup lady, you're still definitely a woman, and you're still like super pretty. And and unless you're conventionally not pretty. But it's not because of your boobs, it's because of your genetics, and that's not your fault. And so it's just weird. Because it's one thing to get a quote unquote cosmetic surgery to get a nose job where it's like you have trouble breathing, and so like you got smacked in the face as a 5-year old, and then you needed a nose, and then you got like a nose job when you grew up, and you're like, yeah, I can finally breathe. And even if you just like if you're an adult, you can make your adult decisions, but you should not, because humans have this problem where they are like immature, like basically they mentally stay stunted to when they were children. And so when you take like this guy, he's insecure about when he's with other guys, he doesn't want to look like a guy, or he says that he's ugly. Either he's like ugly because he looks like a guy, or just because he's an ugly guy. And that's like the childish thinking. And so that's why it would not be a good idea to try to solve that problem through cosmetic surgery. And that's why I think it's important to like, if you actually want to be happier, you have to learn to love yourself and be grateful for what you have now. Because if you're not able to be happy now, you'll never be happy, no matter what surgery you get, no matter what people you have in your life, no matter how much money you have. You'll still find a way to be sad and ungrateful. And so that's why you have to practice being grateful for what you have right now, and practice being happy, basically. Because especially if you've grown up really depressed and stuff, your default is to be sad and look for the bad in things, and about how things go wrong, went wrong already, or will go wrong. So yeah, it's not a good mindset to be doing body altering, but this is a opportunity where I would recommend, while practicing being happier more for what you have already, is to do some exploration. So you can do that yourself in private. He could experiment with different ways to look, because I'm gonna assume he's a Western guy, and so he's probably got short hair, maybe like brown hair, brown eyes, maybe blue eyes. Maybe he's chubby. Maybe his body proportions are a little weird. Like maybe his arms are a little bit long, or maybe he's got a tummy, and maybe his femurs are short. You know, the that's stuff you can't really control. But if you build up your confidence and you explore, like, the internet is massive, it's huge. So you can um like start finding, like, some cross dressers, some femboys. You could find uh some some therapists that can provide more techniques on how to do some self exploration in a safe place just by yourself, so you can figure out how you really feel. So it's important to get to the underlying feeling and not the like first top feeling. So like if he was to like put a wig on, like a really pretty long blonde wig, and he felt amazing, so he might just think of it on a surface level to be like, okay, well, I like long hair. And then this is when the weird woke thing comes in, where people will say, oh, you're a man, but you get really happy when you have long hair. That means you're a woman and you gotta go do more. But maybe that's just all he needs. Maybe he just needs to grow his hair out and invest in some hair care, and maybe he just likes the way he looks with long hair because guys, guess what? They can have long hair. And like in Chinese culture, if you watch Chinese animes and that take place in like old time, the guys will have long hair like up in ponytails and stuff, and it's more of like a social norm thing in that old time period. But also, we live in a really lucky time where we're pretty accepting of like people looking different than the stereotypical norm. So he could still be a guy and grow his hair out, and then maybe that would help him build his confidence with his body dysmorphia, because none of this has to do with gender yet. It's just some normal human insecurities. It's normal to be insecure about your body, especially when you're growing up, because you don't know what you're gonna fully look like until you're like 23, like is kind of around the time your body solidifies and then your mind solidifies more around 25. And so don't know this guy's age yet, but let's keep going.
Looking like a guy even more. Additionally, not to mention, I especially hate having like those parts that men tend to have. I freaking despise it so much. And that doesn't exactly mean that I'd rather have like the female alternative. Honestly, that's even
Yeah, that's pretty valid. um as an asexual, I think this is probably why I have sort of this problem. Is I don't like having the genitals. I wish I was like the Barbies and Ken dolls, just like any toy, or even just in modern games right now where you take their pants off and then there's like no bulge. I I don't like genitals. They produce weird fluids. Um, Doing the Jorkin is a really weird thing, and yeah, so that's a normal human thing.
worse to me. I mentioned in my last video very briefly that I am especially disgusted by that stuff and I want nothing to do with it. Okay? Look, I love being a guy in a lot of aspects, but, at the same time, looking or acting like one, it just sucks, man.
Yeah, so this so far just seems like maybe he doesn't have like he's in a world, maybe like a town that doesn't really have a variety of guys, and like so everyone kind of does a playbook, like everyone has to be the same. It's like if you're a guy, you get your driver's license at like 15, and then you get your first job, and then you get a girlfriend when you're like 19 in college, and then you get married when you're 21, and then you have 3 kids. um but so uh yeah, just sounds like he doesn't like the concept of like following a playbook um about how to live, and that's okay. So let's see what else.
Okay, and that's for a variety of reasons that I'll get into. Obviously, first, there's the fact that I just mentioned. I'm just not a fan of the old worm in my trousers. You feel me? Sometimes it just acts up in ways that I just don't want it to. It's like it's got a mind of its own. You feel me? More on that in another video I made called "I Get Hard Around Cats." Please don't take that at face value. There's a lot more that goes into it, and I swear it's not as bad as it sounds. Please just
Yeah, so the the parts down there for the guys and the girls, except the girls outer part is a lot smaller, so it's harder to notice, but they do get bigger with size. And it's again kind of similar to the big boobies. Is they take the sign of the dick getting hard as only a sexual thing, but it's basically it's made of a sponge. I'll try to not go into it too much in case people don't like body parts discussions. But it's a sponge, And so when blood goes in there, just like when a sponge is filled with water, it expands. So it's like, so when guys first wake up, the blood flow goes down there, and so that's why they'll get the morning wood. If they get happy, literally, if they get happy and they're like jumping up and down, uh, that's gonna cause the blood pressure to go through the body more, and even during SA situations for guys, the girls will take him getting hard as consent, and so that's a whole nother thing. And so yeah, it's not something that they can control. They can't control the hardness, and it's not only a sexual thing. Okay.
Freaking watch it, okay? My fault. But anywho, yeah, so there's that, and additionally, I feel like we all kind of know that, like, you know, being a guy kind of is associated with having super rigid fashion typically. And I mean, I'm not a very big fashion
Yeah, that's a fucking annoying ass thing that kind of pisses me off, because especially in Western culture, guys, we get shorts, we get pants, we get t-shirts, turtlenecks, long sleeves, sometimes a jacket, sometimes a crop top jacket if we're feeling crazy, a tank top, and a tuxedo. That's that's our options. And so like the way we get to express is basically through accessories, um like watches and glasses and hats, like beanies and stuff. So I understand this rage. I understand that the limitation in the Western is, it pisses me off. Why, like, why can't we have more options? Well, we can, but we just don't really, like, society just doesn't really go out of their way to make fashionable stuff for guys. So we just get like the basic stuff, and it's why I'm planning to start a fashion company. uh I wanted to go really hard on the fashion for the guys, so keep an eye out for that if you're a guy and maybe you like alt fashion or some like fancy stuff and you just want to feel cool. uh I'm like working on making designs to help guys actually have some fashion options.
guy at all. But like, let's do a little thought experiment, okay? I want you to envision, all right, a basic guy. What does he look like? What is he wearing? Okay? Chances are you imagine some freaking dude wearing a hoodie and jeans,
Oh
a
yeah,
hoodie
hoodies.
and gym shorts, a t-shirt and jeans, or a t-shirt and gym shorts. There's really not a whole lot to do,
Yeah,
okay?
that's what I was
Well,
saying.
there is, there's plenty of like alt fashion and other sort of weird things. When you're really looking at it at
Yeah,
face value, there aren't a whole lot of quote unquote basic fits that you have as a guy.
yeah,
Girls, on the other hand, they got so many more to
yeah,
pick
it's a
from, bro. They got
crazy.
variety, all right? It's like however you're feeling one morning, you know, you could just switch up your entire style. It's like freaking insane. Like they could just like do that.
Yeah, they have like they get allowed way more colors, they get way more patterns, they get way more textures, more varieties of fabrics, especially and like different necklines, and just a whole lot of stuff. It's crazy. Like if you know in dress up games and stuff like that, the girls get loads of options, but then the guys, they get like one third, if at all, that amount of content.
You know? Obviously, there's exceptions too. But, like, dude, overall, girls just look better, okay? And yes, I know it's because girls just freaking take care of themselves, unlike guys. I mean, a lot of dudes I know literally just wash their hair with, like, a bar of soap. They don't wash their face.
Yeah, that is less of a guy thing and actually more of a taught aspect, because if you meet like African American guy, you know, they put lotion on, they put cologne on, they have different soaps to take care of their hair, different soaps for their skin.
literally just wash their hair with like a bar of soap.
And there's that basically that concept of a guy not taking good care of his hygiene is a taught thing. So um basically that was a result of boys being neglected growing up, and so they just kind of figured things out themselves. And so they were just like, okay, well, I know soap cleans the bacteria, so I guess I'll rub soap all over my body. And so that's not their fault. um so yeah, it goes for guys. Yes, you should be using water to wipe your butt after you poop, okay? Just toilet paper. If you're out in public, I guess that's fine since Western society doesn't have bidets in public. But if you're a guy and you own a home right now, or maybe you have a roommate, so ask their permission if you can buy the $30 bidets on eBay, and then you'll have squeaky clean butts after you poop. And or you could buy the little bottles. There's like these little, they're not spray bottles, but they're like more powerfuler uh ones that you just fill up with water from your sink, and then like you probably want to do warm water, and then you can do your business, and then you spray the bottle back there, and then that's basically like the bidet. But I just like using the bidet. And then boom, less STIs for your girlfriend. uh yeah, because I know some people where I got them a bidet, and the wife told me that she started having STIs less after sex, because the guy was having a bidet. So yeah, that's another factor. uh yeah, wash your butt.
They don't wash their face, and they rarely ever wash the rest of their body. But like, dude, here's the thing. No matter how good a man's hygiene is, hypothetically speaking, I just don't think there's a possibility that he can quite surpass or even rival a well-kept girl at all. And I stand by that. Now,
That's just
aside
an
from looks,
opinion.
I get the feeling, I don't know, I feel like I'd just be able to do more as a girl. You know what I mean? And what
Mm.
I mean by that, alright, is like, this is gonna sound super weird, but I feel like I'd be able to be closer to people as a girl. Like, I mean that both emotionally and physically. It feels weird being a guy and being within a 2 foot radius from another human being.
Yeah, that's another societal factor that was forced upon the guys. They, at least in this society, that basically, uh, not even Emily made a really good video on it recently. If you want to look that up on her channel, talking about the different, like relationship expectations, like friendship wise, like between a girl and a girl and a guy and a guy. um Basically, but that's like the like shallowness, like, and well, like lack of depth from guy relationships is not a guy thing, it's a society thing. Because a lot of people who actually put in the effort to be friends with guys will realize that they are also people. They like having connections, they like having friends, they like having people who are reliable, they like being relied upon, they like helping people out. And so that it's a real shame, because I know you guys uh, are capable of being really good friends. And so yeah, uh, just saying, it's more expected that a girl has more emotional depth, but that is also a skill. It's a taught skill, and the guys, they just weren't taught the skill, or they were shamed, um, because they, growing up, were basically taught, instead of being taught how to be men, they were taught how to not be a woman. And so, since being like emotional was categorized as a girl thing, they based it so whenever a guy like showed emotions like humans do, that's a human thing to have emotions, they yeah, they get all neglected, and then they don't have the skill to be able to emotionally connect to people and like care about like deep things, even though like they would if they were given the choice. But it was kind of just like a survival adaptation is the reason for the relationships not feeling as in depth as a girl and a girl friendship.
All right, regardless of whether they're a guy or a girl or whatever, this isn't a thing about me being freaking gay or anything like that. That's not what this is, okay? It's just a constant thought that's racing through my head as a guy, and it's just like, what if they think I'm being creepy? What if they think I'm being some sort of weirdo lunatic that wants to touch them or something like that? There's so many, there's so many awful thoughts that go through my head, and look, I know there are exceptions, but girls definitely do have it easier in that regard. It's sad to think about it, but like, it's a fact that guys tend to have more.
And it's not exactly easier for them, like naturally, I guess. It's just because they were taught um how to be like emotionally respectful of people uh and their feelings and stuff.
Friends overall. They have much larger social networks, but those friendships just tend to be a lot more shallow and
Mhm.
also far less intimate. Now, girls, on the other hand, they tend to have a lot fewer friends, but their friendships tend to be a lot more emotionally involved and intimate. And
That just depends on the girl. There's still introverted girls. There's still loner girls. I'd say the average would be like 1 to 2 close friends, and then the rest of the friend group would is just kind of like just friends, like in a sense of like we're nice to each other, but they're not actually friends. So
stuff
yeah,
like that. And again, I get it. It's like, there are exceptions. It's not like this for every single person. It's not like just because you're a girl, you're like genetically hardwired to
yeah.
freaking be better at socializing with people. That's not what I'm getting at. But whatever. That's besides the point. Anyways, though, I wanted to bring this term up again because earlier in the video I mentioned this term, female androgynous biomass nerd emoji, pointing emoji. This was actually a term that a friend of mine threw at me.
Uh, yeah. So it just seems like just like the same stuff I was saying before, and uh, yeah.
In a conversation while we were talking about this ridiculous anime called That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime.
Hey,
By the
listen,
way,
don't
I
hate
just have
on
to
this
say,
line,
it's
bro.
an
That shit was
awful
fire.
show. Oh, it's so freaking weird, man.
Honestly, I think it's one of the less weird reincarnation animes. Because isekais can get really weird, and that one was pretty fucking peak.
Honestly, like, if I had the choice to go back and watch it, I'd probably like want it. And if you haven't watched it yet, then I would also recommend that you don't do it, unless if you're like really into highly sexualized anime about like little girls or whatever the heck, man. Whatever you're into, bro. Whatever floats
um,
your boat. But yeah,
well, that's a little bit weird, to go into. That's a whole different topic, so I'll try to not talk too much about it. Uh, but one, uh, uh, as I'm assuming this guy is also probably asexual, since um he gets he gets all grossed out by genitals. Um, yeah, I don't like. Yeah, the some of the girls in the anime will pick up the slime and then like squish him into their boobies. But they're not real. They're fictional characters. So and there's also like only like maybe like 2 lollies in the series so far. So I don't know where he's getting the little girls
I
from.
was talking about how I wanted to be like the main character so bad. Basically, in the show, this character, he's a guy, he gets reincarnated as a slime, as the title suggests, but then later on, he kind of like turns into like a girl thing or something, but he doesn't have any of the extra bits, neither male nor female. And I don't know why, man, but I remember like watching the show when I was younger. I don't remember how old I was, probably like 14, 15 or so. And I remember thinking
Wow,
that
was
was
that
like
long ago?
really cool, man. Like, oh my gosh. Imagine what it would be like to just like, like be a girl, but without having like, like the girl parts and not having like the guy parts either. That sounds freaking crazy, man. And it's like for me personally, the reason why this appealed to me was because, throughout my life, I've been so utterly annoyed by my obnoxious woodpecker beating its stupid, obnoxious beak against my pants that I've just wanted an escape from,
An
masculinity as a
escape.
whole. It's annoying, all right? Again, it's not like I'd prefer the female equivalent, It's just, it's not my thing. So yeah, what does this all mean? I suppose I should probably get into that, right? Because I'm kind of just ranting and talking about how, like, oh yeah, I totally want to be a female androgynous biomass. But, what does that even freaking mean for me, all right? For me in my situation. I already got plenty of allegations for a variety of different things, mostly related to things like sexuality or gender identity. So, we're just going to add one more to the pile, all right? Now, look, people think I'm gay. People think I'm asexual. People think I'm basically anything else
Hey, that sounds
other
theorizing.
than cis straight, all right? And whatever, okay? I'm pretty sure this is just another case of the old woke mind virus, but I could imagine that people might come to the hasty conclusion that I might be non binary. I don't think I am personally. That's not really what I feel like I identify with. I like being a guy. I like, being called he, him, or whatever, and I enjoy
Yeah.
the perks that I have with being a guy. And
Yeah, it's really weird that people, like I was mentioning earlier, they kind of, yeah, I think they're trying to be helpful maybe um by being like, oh, maybe you're trans, maybe you're non-binary, maybe you just want to be a cross dresser and dress up as cute anime girls. uh but it's up to him to decide uh what what works for him.
it gives me a lot of freedom to express myself in ways that I see fit. Okay? Non binary? Throw it over there with the rest of them. Yet another thing to add to my big book of useless information that nobody cares about. Seriously, it's whatever. I mean, it's a thought, that's for sure. But I definitely still feel like I'd be a lot more comfortable with calling myself a guy simply because that's what I see when I look in the mirror every morning. Additionally, over the years I've learned to get more comfortable with just being a guy or whatever. And back then when I was a teenager, I hated a lot of things about myself. I hated the fact that I was a man or whatever, but now I've gotten a lot more accustomed to it. And I feel like in due time, I probably will get over this whole little androgynous biomass thought experiment of mine. All right? We'll see. I mean, I'm getting.
Yeah, so it could really just be him maturing at his own pace, and so that is totally fine. I get really weirded out because to me, when I was growing up with the trans stuff, I saw everyone, all the like older trans people, they were like, wait until you're like 19 before you consider getting any surgeries, and make sure your brain is fully developed, and make sure that this is um, really who you are, and not just some kind of outside expectation being forced upon you that you're going along with. And so like I think it's okay to do exploring if that's what you want, but also just like he said, it could just be like a growing into himself kind of thing. And so his and seems to be recovering from his body dysmorphia a lot. Just kind of like a acceptance type of thing. And, that is a-okay. I don't like that now the trans people are now taking people who are, in this vulnerable state, and basically like forcing them to do stuff like right off the bat, or like forcing these labels upon them, which again is basically doing the same problem, like he said earlier, where he's like, you know, the society has these um things that are like exclusive guy stuff, like these are how to be a guy properly type of thing. And then so it's weird to be like, okay, well, if you gonna be a girl, now you have to do the opposite extreme. And it's like, no, um it's okay. They no one needs to really do anything. Sure, there's like a whole nother different conversation talking about if you actually want to be likable to other people. Um, and so then you would like sometimes have to change yourself. Like, say if you never took showers and then like you wanted to actually be a likable person, so you started to take showers. Like, the showers isn't part of who you are, it's just a decision you made. So,
Better with each and every passing day. I mean, at this rate, I'll be healed in no time. But yeah, that's my conclusion, alright?
good
I'm a
luck, bro.
guy. A little guy who dreams just a little too big. Anywho, though, I'm kind of running out of things to talk about, so I'm going to go ahead and mention that I do have a Discord server. It's totally super awesome. Opossum, you should totally come in. The link is in the description.
Cool.
And people also draw all this beautiful fan art, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on the screen. I have no idea what it's going to be this time, but I guess I'll see when I'm editing this video later. But yeah, super duper cool. I totally recommend that you come into my server and everything. Additionally, yes, I
Ah,
also
he's
gotta
a
mention
furry,
this, okay?
yes.
I am also doing server memberships. I don't mean to spoil the fun or anything, okay? But there may or may not be an A.
Yeah, I notice it's pretty common in the LGBT community for people to be furries as well. Or, oh, I forgot. The, the the word for the people who aren't furries, but they're just like spiritually like roleplay as an animal throughout their lives. Not the kink one, but like the people who like be like wolves and stuff. Like they feel in their spirit they're one, and so they'll like jump around the yard. Uh, so not sure which one
ASMR
the guy
video
is,
in the
but
near future, so you
I guess
might want to
more.
stick around for that. I mean, potentially. Okay, that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I think that'll be fun. There are two tiers.
Go
One of
for
them
it.
is like $5, and the other is $6. $5 is just like if you really feel like you want to support me. Obviously, no pressure or anything. This isn't me begging for your money or anything like that. It's just that I've gotten people contacting me, saying that they were interested in it. So I figured I'd do it, but at the same time, I kind of felt scummy just, doing that. And I feel like, I feel like offering a little something extra. And that's when the extra dollar comes in, okay? The extra dollar. There is going to be a Gato Fanglo ASMR video sometime in the future. Please look for.
All right. Well, that seems to be the end of that video. Well, I think that was certainly interesting. Uh, hopefully he didn't get any like a lot of like super weird reception, but it's the internet. If you're gonna post intimate stuff like this on the internet for people to add their own comments onto, I think he's probably strong enough to be able to handle uh the weird comments people leave or like messages people send. uh but yeah, if you want to watch the original video yourself, link in the description. And if you have any thoughts, put them in the comments. I I do also have a Discord server. I'm pretty sure it's ready, so I'll put the link in the description or the comments, so you could go and say hi to me if you don't want to put your comments in the on this video. You can go to the Discord server and you could just ping me, and if you have any comments or questions or anything. All right. Well, thanks for watching this far, and I'll see you another time. Bye.